This is Matt Elam University!
Hey, this is Matt Elam, and as promised, I'm going to share one technique that you can use to prevent yourself from gaining weight during the holidays. Now, everyone likes to eat during the holidays. There's a lot of good food that's around typically, and some people feel guilty when they pig out on Thanksgiving, for example. And if you employ this technique, you're going to be able to eat as much as you want on the day of the holiday, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or what have you. So, let me share that technique with you. The name of the technique is called quasifasting. Quasifasting. And what quasifasting is it's basically a mini version of a 24-hour fast. So rather than fasting for 24 hours, basically with no food in your system at all, and just drinking water throughout the day, in a quasi-fast, you're going to fast from anywhere from 12 to 18 hours. And during that time, you may have small amounts of food, like maybe a small piece of fruit, maybe a little bit of tea, and of course, water throughout the day. But that is the quasi-fast in a nutshell. Now, why is fasting or quasi-fasting so effective for short periods of time? Well, let's take a look at the basic physiology behind this technique. You're either going to be in one of these two states. You're either going to be in a fasted state or you're going to be in a non-fasted state. A non-fasted state means that your body is with nutrients. It has a certain amount of low, moderate, and or high glycemic foods. In a fasted state, it's the exact opposite. Your body is without food for approximately 24 hours. Now, the biochemistry that's created by either a non-fasted state or a fasted state are very different. Let's take a look. In a non-fasted state, which typically in the West we spend a lot of our time in, basically because we're taking in major meals, and when we're not taking in major meals, we're snacking. So we're always going to be in this non-fasted state, or we're spending a lot of time in that zone. What happens is insulin levels are spiked. Insulin is a hormone released by the pancreas and is necessary to metabolize the glucose inside our bloodstream. Basically, glucose is blood sugar. What that insulin is going to do is going to take that blood sugar and it's going to shove it into as much lean tissue as possible. It'll shove it into muscle cells in the form of glycogen, it'll shove it in the liver in the form of glycogen, and whatever's excess will be stored as adipocytes or fatty tissue. And that's what happens for a lot of individuals that gain weight, is that there's just too much emphasis of the non-fasted zone, and once insulin has been spiked and has shoved as much of the sugar as it can into both the muscles and the liver, a certain amount of it has to go to fat cells. And so this is what happens. So insulin, when insulin levels are spiked, GH, growth hormone, now keep in mind growth hormone is responsible for not only resynthesizing lean muscular tissue, but also mobilizing fat. It uses fat as an energy source. Growth hormone is low or basically non-existent when insulin is high. So when you're in a non-fasted state, your insulin levels are high, and an inverse relationship there with growth hormone is low, and you're not burning fat while in a non-fasted state. Now, in a fasted state, your insulin levels are low because there's no food that are stimulating the low, moderate, or high glycemic index. There's no foods that are doing that, and so therefore growth hormone is able to run rampant. Growth hormone levels are elevated, which means that it's metabolizing fat, and it's resynthesizing lean tissue, which is ideal. It's an ideal state, and this is that burn zone when you actually lose weight. And if you do this for a short period of time, like for example during the holidays, well, then you're going to get the benefit of burning fat, maintaining, if not increasing, lean muscle, and basically eating how you want, pigging out on a day like Thanksgiving or Christmas Day. Okay, here's how the quasi-fast works. Let's say your big event is Thursday, like Thanksgiving. Well, you don't want to be calorically restricted at all on that day. You want to pig out as much as you want. So here's what you do. Tuesday night, let's say that 9 o'clock, for example, 9 p.m. is your last meal. Well, from 9 p.m. on Tuesday night to 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, your body has gone through a 12-hour fast. Now keep going through that fast for another 6 hours. You basically want to go 18 hours on that mini fast. And at that 18-hour mark, you can go ahead and have a piece of fruit, a low-glycemic fruit, like I like to eat a pear or an apple. Now keep drinking water. You can drink a little bit of tea if you like. And then at dinner time, have a pretty hearty dinner. Have a 6 to 8 ounce steak. Have a medium potato with the fixings on it. Have steamed vegetables, a salad, maybe a glass of wine if you're old enough. And then that's it. Then the next day, go ahead and pig out as much as you want. Or typically that's what I do. And then the day after, you repeat the process that you did before that event. Thursday night, let's say 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. was your last meal. Then from 10 p.m. on Thursday to 10 a.m. on Friday, that's 12 hours of fasting. Then you're going to continue another 6 hours, go 18 hours straight of fasting. Then at that point, you can have a small piece of fruit, or sometimes you can go right through with fasting all the way up till dinner. And then at dinner, again, you can have a nice hearty meal. And then typically after that, you want to go back to a regular way of eating, maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 small meals a day. And those are things that I employ, and I think they'll work for you as well. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. I encourage you to try this principle out. It works for me. Hopefully it'll work for you. Okay? Have a good one. Happy holidays, and we'll see you guys in the next video.